Whew, I am back for part two of my unemployment series. Unemployed, now what? Okay, I left off talking about my different options and I kind of segued into how friends are. But let me get back on track. So I talked about options, some of the options that I had available, which was contacting the local EDD, the Employment Development Department in your area, contacting temp agencies, going online to any kind of job sources. I mentioned the ones that didn't work for me so well, which was Monster and Career Builder. Indeed, I never got jobs through those websites. So if you've had a better experience, leave it in the comments because I don't know it. What else did I say? But anyway, those are some options that I had available. Okay, so let me get back on track. In this video, I want to discuss the different financial uh, what am I saying? Like, sorry, talking about unemployment. I mean, it brings me back to that time. So I have to admit, I had to take a break and like take a deep breath because it was horrible. So anyway, savings, severance, unemployment benefits, COBRA, your 401k, and your full 403b. I had a 403b, but anyway, savings. Whew. Financial advisors say that you should have savings to get you through, is it 6 months, of a hard time? But in this economy, you got to be ready to float yourself for much longer. You just do. It's not that easy to find a well-paying job. It's not. It's so much harder. Thousands of people are applying for that one position. You have to have savings in place. I had savings, but eventually it does run out, but I did have a savings put aside. I did have my severance package. I applied for the unemployment benefits and received those. Cobra. Cobra was so expensive that there was no way I was going to buy a Cobra coverage. It was just so outlandish. Hundreds of dollars per month. I want to say mine was like $350 a month, and there was no way I was going to pay for that. So what I did, because my benefits expired, I want to say like 30 days after I was laid off, I called all my doctors and said, I need to come in for a physical now. I need to get all my testing done. I got all kind of testing done. I got prescriptions for my medications. I was just on a hunt to make sure I was cushioned for a while because paying out of pocket costs. Medication's expensive. But the good thing about being unemployed was I was having a lot of stomach discomfort and acid problems. That went away after I lost my job. hmm Almost choked. No more acid. And the doctor had warned me, she said, if you don't keep, if you keep this up, you're going to develop an ulcer. She said, wow, you're having some really bad acid reflux. And she had me on some things. I didn't need it anymore. I was very lucky in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I just started hoarding medications. I even asked the doctor, don't be shy. Ask the doctor for like the samples that the medication reps give him. Just do whatever you can to get it on and crunked. Oh, and let me just warn people too, sometimes I do curse. So if you're sensitive to bad language, yeah, I might let something fly out. But anyway. So Cobra, I did not sign up for. I just made sure that I got everything in. I was really sad because at the time of the layoff, I was having some dental work done that just stopped. So I couldn't rush and get that all completed. Oh well. And I had a 403b because I worked for a nonprofit. And I kept my account going because you have options at the time of your layoff. You can cash out. You can keep it in the plan. You can do different things. So I read my paperwork and I decided to keep the money in my account in case I needed it later. So I did keep that going. Money's such a huge issue. But anyway, for the unemployment benefits, you go online and apply for those benefits, and you have to give them details like the date that you last worked, the reason that you weren't working anymore. For me, that was being laid off. So mine was a fairly simple process, and the benefits started, but those don't last forever either. And, you know, you got to start making some decisions about your income. And I talked about that in the first video. You might want to start some kind of temp agency work and try to find permanent work through that. All right. But I really want to talk about venting. When you're unemployed, you're going through so many emotions that you need somewhere to vent. You just do. Be careful who you vent to. And I mean that. Be careful who you vent to. And it's not just, I'm not just saying it from my personal experience, like I'm not a negative person and I'm just coming down on people. I've talked to other people. I met a lot of unemployed people since I was laid off, and it's a hot mess what goes on in people's lives once they become unemployed. You will flush out all the fake friends like that. All the friends you used to hang out with and go to happy hour. I was the kind of person that, like if I had a lot of money saved up, I might feel generous and be like, I'll pick up the tab, you know, drinks on me. But that's expensive, you know, a cocktail can cost. And I drink premium liquor. So there was no more of that. So some people look at you funny because they're like, oh, well, she can't buy us drinks anymore. People will reduce you to that. Oh, she's the one that picked up the tab. People treat you different. They don't want to be around you. You know, very few people were just decent to me in that respect. And so be very careful who you vent to. All right. So with venting, I was depressed after I lost my job. I did see a therapist. I'm not ashamed to say that. I went to see a therapist, and it was the best thing I could do because I talked through it and got to hear an objective opinion. That helped so much because I would replay the words he would say in my head, and I was like, you know what, I got to remember these things and I have to keep pushing forward. So it helped me. It did help me. When I'm venting to friends, it is another issue. I recommend therapy, you know, because it's great. If you have friends that you really trust with very sensitive issues, go right ahead and share that with them, because there are those people, and family members too, that will be good listeners, because that's what you need, a listener. You're in shock sometimes, you're depressed. So I'm getting dry throat. You're depressed and you just need someone to listen, especially when it's fresh, when it just happened. And so those people in my life that talked to me calmly, that listened more than they talked and things like that, that's great. That's awesome. But I want to touch on the fact that it's going to flush out people out of your life. There were some people I considered friends, and I told them honestly how I felt, because we used to go out and do things like a spa day, and it was beautiful. Oh, there's this spa called Refresh Spa, I want to say, and it's in San Francisco off of Van Ness Avenue. It's right near the 24-hour fitness on Van Ness, and it's kind of like you can miss it because it's small. Yeah, see, there's like a small door in the front. It's small, so I never noticed it before, but somehow we stumbled upon this place, and we would go there for a spa day. That's expensive, but you choose the kind of massage you want. They have a steam room. They give you tea and the cucumber water, and it's so pretty in there. When you walk in, the lights are dim. There's candles all alongside the wall. It feels beautiful in there. They give you the big fluffy towel, It's an awesome, awesome experience. You feel relaxed. They do manicures and pedicures there, but I found them to be overpriced. We would walk down the street, down to Polk, and find a little shop and get our stuff done there. Because, yeah, I have my limits. It's like if I indulge in a massage, because I tip my masseuse and the rest of it very well, then I'm sorry, I got to go get me a $9 manicure down at the shop. Sorry, I'm not paying for the whole holistic manicure pedicure. That's not going to happen. But anyway, so this group of friends and I used to do that. We'd go out to eat, buying meals and cocktails. You know, it was all good for that time. But I was the only one unemployed, and it was kind of like the phone calls didn't come as often, which was interesting. They didn't call and like say, how are you doing today? I was depressed. And I even said so. I was very open about it. I'm depressed. You know, I'm tripping. I got to get my head wrapped around what's going on with me. I got to get my head wrapped around throwing out my resume, having phone interviews and the rest of it. That was something I hadn't done for like 8.5 years. So that was a lot going on in my mind and in my life. And so for people not to call and check on me and to turn around when I'm talking, because that's serious going on in my life. I paid my own rent. And someone who didn't pay rent because she lived at her parents' home told me, she said, quit wallowing. And that word just stabbed me. I said, wallowing? She said, yeah, you're wallowing. You talk about it too much. You know, I don't know what to say. Maybe I was wallowing, but I was depressed and I was dealing with heavy issues, because when you're not earning an income, you have to start doing serious stuff. You're faced with so many serious decisions. Excuse me if I'm wallowing. Excuse me if it took me time to get over it. So I don't believe in that. To me, friendship is kind of like the story of Job in the Bible. And prayer has kept me sane. At least I think I'm sane. Prayer has kept me sane throughout the whole process of being unemployed. So the story of Job, I read that while I was unemployed. And you know, you don't want friends who try to say things to you. Don't try to find a perfect thing to say. Just listen. Because there's things going on that I'm telling you, and of course there's things I'm not telling you. People aren't going to tell you the whole truth, like, I think I got to bring my car back. That's serious. You know, you were once riding high, making all this money. Now you got to bring your car back. Now you got to downsize your life. So you're making serious decisions. So again, excuse me if I wallow. Let me wallow. Let me snap out of it. And if you're a real friend, not only will you listen, but you'll help guide me. You'll put your feelers out. Are we hiring here? Because I know somebody. That's a friend. That's a friend. Seriously. You have to ask yourself who the people are around me. When I'm going through something serious, I can't even say it. When I'm going through something serious, how are they reacting to me? If you want to tell me I'm wallowing, and that's the best you could do, and she kind of screamed it at me too. You're wallowing. Oh, okay. I'm not friends with her anymore. Our friendship dissolved a couple months after I was laid off. And it was because I noticed how she was just unsympathetic. Not saying that she had to be sympathetic towards me, but she was unsympathetic and cruel. I think she was cruel because what she would do is talk about her job and how they were having problems at her job, but she still had a job. She was still being paid. And then she would compare herself to me, and I was like, but I'm wallowing. You know, that tore our friendship apart. And I used to really love her. I used to think she was so cool. We would just talk for hours. We would go out all kind of places and enjoy each other's company. But when I got laid off and she called me wallowing and the rest of it, that broke our friendship apart. Looking back, I remember the pain of it, but I also remember it is what it is, with people. You can't expect people to be sympathetic towards you, but when people are cruel and just talk about, oh, you're wallowing, you're complaining, you need to move past it. Well, help me move past it if you're a friend. Either just listen, because it's not like I was just sitting around eating Cheetos and watching daytime TV. I was putting out resumes, I was calling people, I was trying to make coffee dates to network with people. I was doing all kind of stuff. I kept myself busy in the job hunt. So to be told I was wallowing, it's like, that's not somebody who wallows. If I was sitting in the bed unwashed and sitting there stinking, talking on the phone to you all day about it, that maybe is wallowing. So whatever, maybe we have different definitions of what wallowing is. I'm not going to dissect it to death. I just know that friendship broke. That friendship broke. And being unemployed and going through just a horrible decline financially helped me understand how I can be a better person, because I knew somebody who was unemployed. I reached out to her. And I'm not bragging on myself, but I'm saying because of my experience, it made me act differently. I reached out to her. I listened. She kept me on the phone for hours. I'm talking about kept me on the phone so long, I would bring the phone into the bathroom and you could hear me, But I listened to her. Sad, but I was kind of, my attention span would drift, but I kept saying, She was hurt. She was depressed. She was stressed, financially stressed. I said, you know what? She may not accept the money. I just sent her some money in the mail. So I sent you something in the mail. Let me know when you get it. I want to make sure she got it. And she did. And she was all, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Because I said to myself, that's what I would want someone to do for me, to listen. If I knew of anything, I could tell her, and I did tell her about the guy I knew at the temp agency and told her to sign up with him. I gave her his name and his direct line and the rest of it. And I also called him and told him that she would be calling him. So, I did all of that because I said to myself, that's what I would want someone to do for me. That's what I would want someone to do for me. So I call it wallowing versus expressing uncertainty. If I'm expressing to, wow, I don't know how long I can keep paying my rent but not having any income, paying for this, paying for that, all the bills we need to live. How am I going to pay my PG&E? San Francisco's expensive. You can't not work and expect to live here. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah. Wallowing versus expressing uncertainty. Hey, that's what I was doing, because I was still up every day and helping myself through the depression. I would still send out my resume, working on my resume, letting others review my resume to let me know what I can work on and the rest of it. I stayed out there. So I know that I did my best. And friends, yeah, a lot of them I had to say bye-bye to. And looking back, I don't care. Because if you're my friend just because of money we spend together, or the status of saying, hey, I know somebody and she does this and that, to me, that's fake then. I don't want fake friends. I would rather roll solo. And usually in 2015, the way I do, I roll solo. And it's because I know I'm not going to do myself dirty. And so why put myself out there with other people, and they might do me dirty too. Because people that I thought were decent, I would ask them, I would say, do you feel comfortable asking your boss? Or do you know someone in HR you could talk to about openings at your job? To those people that reached out and helped me, thank you. But to those that I thought were my friends and didn't do it, it's cool. I'm not going to hold a grudge. But I'm not going to consider you a friend. Being called a friend, that is such a serious word. And it made me reflect on what kind of friend I need to be to somebody. So I try to be a real friend. And to be honest, what I've learned to do too is when I see people on the street with a cup out and they're looking for change, they're looking for food, I have sympathy on them, because it's like that all started with unemployment. and it spiraled down for them. Let me not be so hardened and be like, oh my God, because I walk down Powell Street in the city, downtown San Francisco, I'm hit up for change constantly, and it is overwhelming. I usually try to carry like cereal bars in my bag or whatever to give them something, or just to give them a smile and like have a little talk with them. That makes their day sometimes, you know. But I'm kinder now to people that I see struggling, because I know what struggling is from having gone through it myself. I don't wish it on anybody, not my worst enemy. I don't wish it. So I'm going to end this video, but yeah, so part 2 of Unemployment Now What? Talking about money put away for saving, severance, unemployment benefits, COBRA, your 401k and 403b, all that money, all those money sources, you got to think about them before your layoff happens. So you have to constantly be thinking about money to put away for savings. Your severance package, know what your severance package is with your employer ahead of time as well, so you can try to figure out how much money you need just to float by. Unemployment benefits, you do everything online. And usually there's an agency in every city that is accessible by bus, by car, by train. COBRA, too expensive for me. I say go ahead and get all your medications that you can before your benefits expire. 403b and the 401k, you can cash them out. I decided to let mine ride and keep gaining a little interest on that. Venting, I vented to a therapist and to friends, and the therapist was the best listener of all. The friends, some were weeded out. And I don't want to call anyone who talks about serious things like unemployment, I don't ever want to call them a wallower. That word just, it irks me to this day, because it's like, wallow? You know, what? Human pain is human pain. And unemployment is severe pain, because you've got to come up with money for your livelihood. That's all serious. You can't pay your rent with unemployment benefits. Oh my God. Woo. So I'm going to end it there on that one. I'm going to come back for a part 3, I think, because I'll talk about bills and how I had to cut and reduce my bills. So I hope this helps somebody. If you're unemployed, keep your chin up. And I mean that. Keep your chin up, because hopefully you're going to find some valuable information and you can get it back on your feet. I really pray that for you.